T minus 40 seconds. T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Welcome to the Play It By Ear podcast. The podcast where the topics may vary because, hey, we play it by ear. And now your hosts, Aric Fiskus, Brady Liming, and Todd Griffin.
Episode 141 of the Play It By Ear podcast. The the big cheese eater.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the big cheese, but not in the way, not in a bragging way. So
Okay.
the eater is in parenthesis.
Le grand fromage.
Does everything progress okay through your system since you're a big cheese eater?
At my age, you know the answer.
Rather quickly.
Or I should say, at our age, you know the answer.
Yes,
Hey,
do.
I don't know who you're referring to.
It's no secret that I love me some cheese.
Yeah.
Not many cheeses I don't like.
He hankers for a hunk of cheese. Yahoo!
Well, I'm here to say 52 has not changed any of those issues with me. Still as hasty as it was at 51.
Your name should be Seeking the Double Taper.
All right, George Brett.
Oh.
Straight water.
Straight water. The executive director of Shenanigans is with us also.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm here to say we have a Piper down. Piper is down.
Before we go any farther,
Wear your
we
sweet?
need- Did you wait?
No,
Yeah.
I haven't. No, I haven't.
Speaking of which, we need to wish a belated happy birthday to our wonderful host, Aric Fiskus.
Yes, we do. I was confused on your birthday, the actual day, because it didn't seem to be on Facebook.
He has hidden those facts.
Yeah, and if it's not on Facebook, I can't hardly keep up with the birthdays.
Well, I mean,
I'm at that age now.
He
I-
ordered.
I don't know why.
Well, I saw a person wish you happy birthday, and then I thought, well, maybe it's today. I think I saw that yesterday. But yeah, as I look on your page, I see no like
mention
of, well, yeah, like, you know how usually it says, like, usually you can see where people have wished happy birthdays, like,
yeah.
I mean, I had like 190.
yeah,
Dang, man.
it's strange because, like, you know, normally you can see it and then like it'll say see more, like, and you can open up all the birthday, and I didn't see it, so I was hesitant to wish you happy
See more
birthday.
butts.
Did you get anything special for your birthday? Did your formal codpiece arrive from Temu or anything?
I will tell you. I don't know if it's just me. Maybe it is just me. Maybe it just there's some of the odd stuff that comes up. Temu on my Facebook feed. Like, well, what is that?
I am terrified because, like, some of that stuff, I have no what it is. I have no idea what it is, but it just looks filthy, and I know it's not on me. They're trying. I don't know, and like I said, some of the I have no idea. I'm clueless, but some of it looks like it would be a felony in 10 states.
They're trying to feed off of your curiosity, I think. And you click
Then
on the link, and then
it's
your
a bird
computer.
dispenser.
Yeah, right.
Well, I don't want to hear it with the ads I've been seeing on Facebook lately. I have no idea.
Without
they came
going into
from.
too much detail, Todd, please share.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how I can keep a TV 14. Let's just say
I think it
that
harkens back to our previous discussion, sort of.
yeah, it's
Ma-
like
male cleanliness.
no, not just male. It's
hygiene
just
products.
let's put it this way. Apparently, there are remedies for age spots and dark spots on places other than your face.
Your wrist? No, I'm kidding.
Apparently, there's a need for lightning in other areas
in
other
your
than
nether
our face.
regions.
Yes.
Like, as in electrical bolts, or
No. As in crems and salves,
Ointments.
ointments.
gels.
Does anybody use salve? I haven't heard the word salve used since I heard crap. What were the things back in the day? Not backpacks, but what do we used to call the bags you carry to school?
Satchels.
Satchels. Yeah. Nobody says satchels.
Do you want to age yourself immediately? Is tell your students nowadays, get your satchel before you go to the bus, and they will look at you
Yeah,
like you came from another planet.
Like, what is a satchel?
Stop in the nurse's office. You might need some salve.
Is your stomach upset? Get some pink bismuth.
Oh, so I have a story. I have a bismuth story to tell real quick. So I wake up at
bismuth.
Yeah.
Business. None of your business.
Cheese is my bismuth. And bismuth is good.
Good.
No, so I wake up at 3 a.m. Last night, and I had to pee. It happens when you get older. And I laid back down, and I had some heartburn, which happens when you get older. So it wasn't bad, but I thought, well, I'm already awake. I'm going to hop up. I'm going to go take some Pepto, something for my heartburn. And I go to it's pitch black. I go out into the fridge in the kitchen, and I get the Pepto out. I like to keep the Pepto in the fridge. That's the only place to keep it. I like it cold. And
Makes it with some
so I go to give it a big
on
old
ice.
shake.
On the
And
rock. Pepto on the rocks.
I go to give it a big shake, and I hear the lid hit the floor about 10 feet from me.
You Jackson
And
Pollock the kitchen.
I
with
turn the
Pepto?
light on, and there is about a 2.5-foot puddle of Pepto in the on the kitchen floor, and splatters. Like there were literally splatters, probably 5 to 6 foot away from me, all
like a
over the
Jackson Pollock on your
Yeah.
floor of bismuth.
place. So that's not something you want to deal with at 3 o'clock in the morning.
No.
So who was the last one to use the Pepto that left the lid off?
As much as I would love to blame someone else, I think it was me. I think it was me. Yeah. So yeah, that's my bismuth story.
Um,
My most recent bismuth story.
I woke up with a, oh, this is going to sound like an old person story, but I promise it's not. But I woke up with a calf cramp. And I got up and went to the kitchen about 2 a.m. to grab me some Motrin or ibuprofen. And I flip on the light. And right as I come around the corner, my large dog had loafed right on the kitchen floor. And she, bless her heart, is a large dog. So that has not happened in a long time. But I barely avoided catastrophe.
Yeah, it's if you've ever, I years ago, I believe I stepped in dog mess barefoot.
Yeah. So did it like your toes? Did it like
Well, I just remember like your foot slides, but as your foot slides, your toes also spread apart. It's just like it's like
And good night.
a bulldozer for yeah. But you know, Brady, it's funny you mentioned that. This isn't funny, but like you mentioned the Charlie horse or whatever you said, the cramps. I had a Charlie horse right in the middle of my foot the other night. You ever get one there? Like right where I couldn't, it was almost unreachable. Like if I stretched my foot, it didn't quite reach it. And if I bit my foot the other way, it didn't quite reach it. So I just had to lay there and hope that it didn't get worse. But now Celia, she's had this past summer, we played a crap ton of shows this past summer and probably haven't stayed as hydrated as we should, but she had some bad like leg cramp, Charlie horse, whatever. So much so to where like
Clydesdales,
like where she, I mean, because she drives home from shows, and so much so where she had to like pull over and like we'll get outside middle of the night, just like walking around, trying to stretch it out and stuff.
Have you ever had the kind where imagine this being your foot and the cramp and it bends it this way, like it have like hot dog style, not hamburger style, like a piece of paper.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
So 3 or 4 different times I've gotten calves in my thigh, and there's
what?
My thigh.
Oh,
and there's no way to put your leg to where like you move your leg and you feel like you're gonna get relief and it tightens up again, and then
you don't.
You move it the other way and it tightens up again. And I just had to lay on the floor and just
and wail.
Wait it out.
Oh.
What we're trying to say, people, is getting old as hell.
Getting old is not for the faint of heart. Is what
but it does beat the alternative. We should not complain.
There's a bunch of comments.
Savannah, thank you, Savannah.
Savannah.
Jerry.
Jerry.
Jim is with us.
James.
And he also says, no one ever used the word satchel for a book bag. That is
to be fair, we didn't either.
Oh, yes, we did.
I did.
Yeah. Yes.
Maybe it's because I had older siblings, but I remember.
Yeah, I remember my parents saying it, but I never said satchel.
Okay, I will rephrase. Probably not satchel for a book bag, but satchel for the stuff like you carry your basketball shoes in and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, gym bag.
Or does anybody say duffel bag?
Duffel. What is duffel?
Pardon me while I move my duffel. Could you move your duffel so I can put my duffel in a bag?
Sir, is that duffel in your bag, or are you just happy to see me?
Yes. Jess, hello.
Hello, Ms. Wilson. Speaking of tracked ads, it was interesting when I had to order a whip for the Evil Witch and Sleeping Beauty. I can imagine what appeared on your feed.
I bet it took a while to get that feed cleaned up.
Oh, man.
Jess, welcome. She stepped on a slug barefoot on the back porch, taking out garbage.
Was it like one of those like garden variety, or was it one of them nanner slugs? It's like
I would say it had to be pretty sizable. She felt it.
Yeah.
Felt it.
Did you go out and pour some salt on it just to get it back? Pay back?
Oh, man.
She who felt it smelt it, probably. All right. Once again, welcome to our podcast. If you've never been here before, we will have a topic of discussion, which is Todd's topic of discussion. Yes, the website. Oh. I thought Brady had a point of emphasis, but no, he was pointing out.
I was practicing my my slightly shocked agape for no reason, just for fun.
So yeah, go to our website, playitbyyourpodcast.com. We'll talk about that here a few other times during the course of our show. And once again, Todd does have our topic of discussion tonight, and I will have our game later on, which is chicken or egg. So Todd.
All right, gentlemen, it's been a couple weeks, but the last time I was at the helm, I was discussing, I believe, a list of 40. Let me go back to the title of it here. 40 extremely awkward situations that we can all relate to. And it's a thread. And we've gone through, I believe, the first 15 or 16. So I'm going to start with number 17. And number 17 is, get there. When you're saying goodbye to someone, and then you both end up walking in the same direction.
Hey, see you later.
Doesn't happen often, but it has happened.
It happened to me the other day, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Then you end up walking like 2 blocks beside of them.
Not that far, but it is a rather awkward situation.
Well, yeah, because once you've said your goodbyes, is it cosmically inappropriate to continue a conversation?
Or and
You walk in silence?
Yeah, true. But I'll say this as well, and I don't know if this is in your list or not, so I may be preempting something, but same sort of thing. But you're like, let's say in the grocery store, and you see somebody and you talk to them for a few minutes, and then you continue to walk around the store and you encounter them again. What's the protocol there in that situation?
I'll tell you.
Little head nod.
Yeah. Like acknowledging comical, you have to do the little.
I have the same answer for all of these. That's the look I give for all of them.
I was hoping to practice the Kermit face.
So I a miniature version of that, Aric, just happens at school on a daily basis. Like you pass a coworker in the hallway heading one direction, you come back from the copier and you pass them again. Like
that's fact.
Have you ever done you say good morning like 2 or 3 times?
Yes.
It happens in the morning
exactly
a lot.
What happens?
Yeah.
Yes.
Morning. Still.
Morning.
You do a lot of times it does end up being a head nod. Like there's words and a head nod first. Morning. And then the next time it's just a head nod.
Well, there's the good nod for good morning, and then there's a head tilt for acknowledgement. Morning.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You tell the time of day by the nod of the head.
All right, number 18. I believe you gentlemen will get a kick out of this. Farting while coughing or sneezing.
Any particular venue or?
Doesn't say. I assume if you're by yourself, there's no embarrassment. There's probably just sheer appreciation.
Sheer appreciation.
But I think it also depends on the timing of it. If it's simultaneous and you know that everything was hidden, then I don't think it's as big a deal. But if it's like a 1-2 punch, then I think it's embarrassing.
Especially in a very quiet place. Like, no, this has never happened to me. But in church, like, achoo, ark. Like there is a definite loud achoo, and there's the report. So, like, that would be horrific.
Yeah.
I years ago, I had a very quiet, respectful student, who that happened to, and who was a 4th grade female, and I felt so bad because you could tell that because the whole room really mortified. So I just I started doing something ridiculous to cover it up.
Did you fart as well? Just to like
Spartacus.
The kid pees their pants and you pee your pants too to make them feel better. That kind of thing. Wasn't that on a movie?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, they fart, you fart too.
No, so, I think I just, like I said, did something. The look a duck. I did something ridiculous and drew
a duck. Oh, look, a duck.
Oh, look, a duck, and then they all go,
Seems like I would call more attention to it.
I was going to say, oh, look, a duck, and you stepped on it. Way to go.
So you know what the response to that is when you do this in public, right?
Whose response? Like the other? Oh.
That's your response.
Well, without the axe.
Yeah. So, how long ago was that, Brady? The story you just told?
How long ago was it?
Yeah.
This would have been about 2003, 2004.
So you could to see how things have changed in the last 20 years. When kids do it now in 4th grade, I don't think there's any embarrassment.
No.
Oh no.
It's just a laugh, and some kids will chuckle, some kids don't. I don't know if it's fear of getting in trouble for laughing. Because I can remember, like in my day, when I was a kid at school, you could get in trouble for laughing at a fart in class. Like you didn't have to be the one to do it. You just laughed at it.
Oh,
Or
Then
did
you
or
had-
was it just
what-
you that
what-
got in trouble for laughing?
What are you laughing at? Then you got to rat out the entire to everybody involved. Well, Jason farted, and then
and
So-
then once again they all stand up. I am Farticus. No, I am Farticus.
So here's the question. Okay, if this happens to you in public, and people, or you don't know if someone hears it or not, cough, flatulence. What's the next sound you make? Another cough or a clear the throat. Exactly.
because you gotta make it sound like it was
You
just
move
part of
your
the
shoe to squeak it and blame it on your
of
shoe.
the triplet. Yeah,
Well, kids today have it easy, especially if they have Chromebooks out, because they could blame it on the little rubber knobbies on the Chromebook on the desk. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So
You
you can
drag
easily
it.
pass
That actually
off.
happens about 3 times a day. I mean, like,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, legit. They rub it across, like rub the Chromebook across
Yeah.
the desk, and it makes that sound.
Okay, but sure as we're sitting here, if you tried to replicate the sound that came out of you with the Chromebook knobby, it wouldn't happen when you needed it to happen.
No, right,
No.
right. All right, number 19. Now this one doesn't really. It's not really awkward as much as it just angers me. Saying hello or how are you to somebody and getting 100% ignored. That's just rude. That's just rude.
Yeah.
That is a lesson. That's actually a lesson that I teach my students every morning. Like when they walk in and I smile and say good morning, and when they don't, I'm like, it's polite to say good morning. When,
Yeah.
I mean,
I joked about that and got a T-shirt out of it. So, one of my students, former students from a few years ago, their parents had a T-shirt printing business. Well, I'd had this student in 5th grade, and they moved on to 6th grade the next year. So this student happened to be coming by our 5th grade pod and said, like, "Hello, Miss So-and-so. Hello, Miss So-and-so. Hello, Miss So-and-so," and walks right on by me. And I'm like, "What am I, chopped liver?" And she's like, "What?" I said, "You never heard that?" I said, "I just need to wear a T-shirt that says, 'My name is chopped liver.'" And lo and behold, a couple weeks later, they had me a T-shirt made up that says, "Hello, my name is chopped liver." I still have it.
So question about that particular saying.
Yeah.
I mean, is okay, chop liver. Is that the worst thing you could say? I mean, chopped liver, granted, is bad.
Well, no, I can tell you the exact origin of it. So, like, if you're walking in a buffet and you see fried chicken and you see chopped liver and you see pudding and you see Salisbury steak, people are going to walk by the chopped liver in disdain. So everything else is acknowledged, but the chopped liver, I think.
but I would
that's
think
weird.
you. I agree that is a good, but it's a strange category because you could do all kinds of things. I mean, you could say, "What am I, pickled pig's feet? What am I? What am I, head
What am I,
cheese?
lutefisk?
Hog jowls.
Am I blood pudding? I mean, what am I?
Ba-dam. Oh, there's an old cut. There is an old cut.
King cut. You want a slice? Scratch is so nice. Got to hear it twice. King cut. DJ
What was
Cheese.
that?
DJ Cheese. Don't let your fingers get soft. Scratch off the beat. Go off. Go off.
I don't think I'm familiar with that one.
Oh, yes. I just can't think of the name of the song. Why? If you were going to be a DJ for a rapper back when DJs were always paired with a rapper, why would you name yourself DJ Cheese?
Because you're the
And
big
be a
cheese.
legit DJ.
You're the big cheese.
I guess so, yeah.
There you go. It's your own name.
I should have been DJ Cheese.
Yeah, right.
Number
So,
20.
I got some comments here. So Jerry says someone doesn't acknowledge your good morning. He says that gets a well screw you too. I think you
Yeah.
could say that to a 4th grader though.
No, but they're fourth graders. It doesn't anger me. It's just a life lesson to teach them. It's when adults do it is when it's like,
Yeah, Richard. Thank you very much.
Hey, Richard.
Thank you, Richard.
Candace. Nice to see you, Candace. Thank you.
Candace,
Thank you.
I am not sure I knew that you listened to us.
Yeah, I know we have all these people that listen, and you don't know. I hear it all the
Thank
time.
you.
I've said that before. People say, and I say, I didn't even know you listen. Well, there's people
Yeah.
that lingers back in the shadows somewhere.
I get this from my daughter every once in a while. She'll say, "So and so from school, Dad. They listen to your podcast and they actually think you're funny." It's like, thanks a lot.
Like,
I get that. I get that
Yeah.
too
Like-
from time to time. I get eye rolls. Yeah, so and so listened to it on the way back on the track bus, and they were laughing. I don't get it.
All right. Number 20. Now, I think we could, and I haven't looked, I haven't scanned ahead, but this could probably come up later. We could probably change the setting. When someone sits beside you in metro or the bus, when there are hundreds of seats available, and again, I think we could apply that to almost any setting, including
Yeah.
the urinal.
The urinal, yes.
Yeah.
You beat me to that.
Yes, sorry.
Yeah.
That is now, ladies. I know you don't have such contraptions in your restrooms, but that is man card revoking material right there. There are 10 urinals, and someone comes up, and no one else using any of them. I mean, let's say you're at Paul Brown Stadium or whatever they call it, at Paycor Stadium. 10 urinals, and someone comes right beside you and uses a urinal beside you.
There is no need to sidle up to anyone when there is multiple urinals available. That's just a violation of airspace.
I would even argue to say there's no if there's plenty available, there's no reason to even be in the same section of urinals. Like if someone is, let's say someone's second from right and there are 10 urinals, you go at least second from left.
Exactly.
Well, and I get to parse it in my head. I'm so particular about it that I get like, should I allow 4 or 5 urinals betwixt?
Well, I
Like-
tell you
like,
what, I do like
I
to do
don't wanna-
occasionally. I do like to mess with people occasionally. And if there's let's say there's 8 urinals or like 9, 10 urinals, whatever it is, I'll go towards the middle if no one's there, and then that really messes with the people coming in after you.
It is
Because
like a
you're forcing them,
Discovery
yeah.
Channel.
You're forcing them to do math when they have to pee.
Do you kind of keep an eye out the side of your eye when they walk in? They stop and they're looking and they're like, "Where do I go?"
You can see the equations above their head. It's like,
Yeah, and I know there's one urinal that people pass up, and it's that short, squatty one, and I get that. I mean, as a short guy, I still don't like the short urinal, because I don't know what height you have to. I think it's meant, obviously, it's meant for children,
No,
but I don't know what height
I
you
thought
have
it
to
was-
be.
I thought it was meant for a disabled urinal and handicapped.
No, I'm not talking about. I'm just talking about the one that there's always one that's low.
That's what I'm talking about.
I
oh,
don't know
I
that
just
would be
always
for.
assumed it was children.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah, I think it's
if-
for children.
If someone's in a wheelchair,
then
Well, it
they'll go
could be,
to the
but
stall.
they would go use the stall. I don't want to, I don't
Yeah.
know, but I'm just saying, like, what I'm getting at is, I'm not a very tall guy, but the angle is still wrong to where you still splash yourself on the knees. Because it's the ricochet point. I don't know the science behind it, but it's just like we could talk about urinals for 20 minutes, but let me say this. Have you ever been to a poorly designed urinal and there's just no way the splashback is, I mean, it's like a
Yeah.
misting splashback. You got,
no
you almost
way
have
to
to stand
avoid it.
sideways. Yeah. You almost have to stand sideways and angle it in.
This is true.
Now,
Yeah.
I almost took a picture the other day to show you guys at OU. I was going to the bathroom I told you guys I went to the volleyball game,
Yeah.
a volleyball game. And so I go to use the bathroom, and I swear it was the worst designed row of urinals I've ever seen. You probably have seen this type before. So the partitions were about, let's just say 10 inches from wall to edge of partition. The urinals were those great big elongated,
The kind that come out with depth.
yeah, looked like a 1942 tractor seat. Like, I mean, just like
Yeah. Yeah.
and the part where if you had one option or two options, you either stand at the edge of the urinal where you would normally stand, and the partition at that point is providing no protection from seeing your
Your junk.
I'm seeing
junk.
griffins.
yeah. The only other option, I kid you not, is to choke up on the urinal, scooch in, scooch in, and then if you look down, you're actually straddling the urinal. You're actually like your legs.
I
like,
know exactly what you mean.
Like the urinal is actually, if someone were to take a picture from the side, the urinal will be sticking out farther than your actual body. You're straddling it.
Yes.
You're
which makes
doing
you change the angle.
Yeah, you're doing the hover and go method.
Yeah.
Like you're hovering about it. Yeah.
Hoover.
Yeah.
Well, hey, this will be the last. I really hate the ones that continue all the way to the floor. So then you splash on your footwear if you're not careful.
You gotta have a strong,
Stream.
large mint. You gotta have a large urinal mint in there to knock down on the splashback.
And provide refreshing essence.
Yeah.
As you do your business.
Go ahead.
About that style of urinal that you're talking about there, what is the purpose? I mean, it's basically a toilet bowl, right?
Yeah, it's every bit as deep as a toilet bowl.
Yeah, it's got 6 inches of water or whatever. I mean, I thought the purpose of a urinal was to conserve water and to allow for easier use.
I am sure the floor style came about so height would not be an issue for anyone. It's an inclusive thing, but it makes everyone equally miserable.
Well, I think Eric's talking about the ones I was describing.
The mini bowl. The mini bowl.
The one. It's the one that is.
Yeah.
Those urinals, I guarantee, if I had a tape measure on me, those urinals, I bet, stick out probably almost 3 feet from the wall.
Yep.
And it's an easy fix. I understand it would be expensive to tear out all the urinals. Put bigger partitions in there.
Right.
I mean, you, if you're listening,
Nothing
paying you a lot of money.
Nothing worse than a line of urinals without partitions, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny to hear like my dad talk about like back in the day at GE and stuff. They had no doors on like the stalls. I think I remember him talking about like certain bathrooms didn't even have it was just like toilets, like toilets with a few feet over another toilet. And
why? There is never a time in history. That's never been okay. Like, why is it that they thought men wanted no modesty and privacy during commerce conducting?
or during showering even?
I think that's, I mean, men, there's some pretty crude men in history. I mean, I think,
well, yeah.
I've known lots of men that wouldn't have minded at all. I mean,
I can think of none of my close acquaintances that would willingly do that.
I think we know one.
Do that.
I think I'll text you one.
I know which one you're going to text. So Jerry says he blew it one day and said, "Hey, dude, ever hear of urinal etiquette?"
Yeah.
Jim says, "Just use the one on the end. That's my go-to." Miss Wilson, in high school, I had a girlfriend believing that the urinal in the away boys' locker room was a special place to wash her hair. Oh man, what if she washed her hair in there?
What do you guys think of the trough?
Once again, when was that ever acceptable?
I texted you all about the trough at the Ohio State Fair and how disgusted I was by it.
Yeah. I mean, for Pete's sake, why even bother with the bathroom? Let's just all go to the horse barn and go in the water trough because, like, sorry, it's unacceptable.
Well, I mean, growing up at dirt tracks all over Ohio and Kentucky, I was no stranger to the trough, so I don't mind the trough. Depending on how long the trough is, if you still have some room, it's really no different. Most men stare straight ahead when they're going to the bathroom anyway.
Well, yeah, okay, but now wait a minute. You just had a soliloquy about the partition not being long enough and that you had to straddle the urinal. Now you're saying you don't mind a trough.
Well, I didn't say that. I didn't say I love a trough. I'm just saying a trough. A trough to me is not as bad as even those because first off, there's no awkwardness to the trough. You're just peeing into a catch fence, like a container. To where those urinals, the shape of them are awkward. It's not even a matter of so like at a trough, you can at least get up on it. You can get up on it and you can get the aim the way you like, the
You
angle.
don't want to be up again in a minute.
Up again. Those urinals, first off, you couldn't even pee into the front edge of them because they come out to such a narrow point. So you have to. So not only do you have to stand back of 2 feet from the partition, you also then have to arch your stream into the largest part of the catch basin. Or otherwise, you take a chance on just peeing on the edge of the front edge of the urinal.
And that's
and
too much
backsplash.
mathematical equations and pitch and yawl and all that. That's not pleasant.
I mean, I would almost rather lean against the back wall and just arch in from across the bathroom. Be safer.
So Jerry says, and we were talking about just a row of toilets like old army barracks. That's what I was thinking. Full Metal Jacket. That's the way it was.
Yeah.
Like when Pyle in that scene did what he did, he was a line of toilets. And then he says there are troughs at the Portsmouth Raceway.
Yeah.
And at the Ohio State Fair.
Remember the trough at Annie's?
Oh yeah, it wasn't it looked like a fireplace.
Yeah. Well, I had the luxury of using the bathroom and I believe it called itself, the place bragged about having the largest urinal, I believe, in the United States. And it was in Chicago when I was playing originals. We did a little 3 or 4 day mini tour and played at a place in Chicago. And it was literally, picture a walk-in urinal, like the kind you're talking about, Bray, that goes all the way to the floor.
Oh,
but also about 8 feet wide. But it was exactly like that. It was the white porcelain, but it was taller than me all the way down to the floor and probably 6 to 8 feet wide.
So is it designed to have multiple gentlemen standing there next to each other? And
if I remember, if my memory serves me correctly, there were a couple other urinals beside it, so at least there were other options. But I don't remember. I just know they bragged about having the country's largest urinal. I had pictures at one time, but I've lost them over the years.
You freaked me out when you said a walk-in urinal. All I can imagine was like wading into a fountain and like parkouring over urinal vents to get to the.
But real quick before we move on, I think the shower thing is a whole other conversation because, I mean, 20, how long ago was it when I was in high school? 5 or 6 years ago when I was in high school. No, I was never comfortable with that. I mean, we got made fun of when we were freshmen in high school because we started out showering with our clothes on to not showering at all. And that's kind of the way I think I can count on one hand how many showers I took after ball games my entire high school career. Well, now it helped being able to just drive home usually after a home game at least.
I can't count on one hand. That meant
0. Yeah. I think I took a couple showers. Like I can't remember. There were times when like no one else was in there or something like that. But first off, who wants to shower with the referees? And Aric, you've been a referee. You are probably yeah.
Nah.
The referee should have to shower somewhere else. They should have their own showers.
Agreed.
You certainly don't want to go shower with a referee if they called some bad calls on you that night. You don't want to be in there naked with them.
I don't want to be naked in there with him made good calls.
Pass.
All right. So now that we ran off all the female viewers talking about urinals,
especially the referee that can only call traveling all the time.
Yes.
Number 21. This isn't so bad. Having your stomach rumble in the middle of a quiet class or meeting. I think everybody knows the sound of hunger.
Poor
Briggy. That's the sound of hunger.
Yeah.
We'll skip past that. Like I said, there's not much to say about that one. I don't find that one very embarrassing. 22. I've done this, bumping into an object and apologizing to it. I've done that. I don't know what causes it. You do it. It's almost like you do it. Obviously, you do it before you think about what.
Reflexive. Almost.
Yeah.
I apologize to my pets. Like I was getting some out of the fridge. I'd turn around and bumped into Pepper's. Like, oh, well, sorry. And she was just like,
Oh yeah.
And she looked up, no problem.
Number 23 is the cause of probably more social anxiety that I can put my finger on. I don't consider myself to have social anxiety. I probably do. But this one always gets me. When you're finishing up at the checkout and the cashier puts like your money back or whatever, your coins, and and somebody's behind you, or you have a line behind you, and you're trying to fumble to get your money back in your wallet or whatever.
That is true.
That is stressful.
It's like an old action movie when your foot is caught in the train track and the train is barreling toward you, and you got that. That's how you feel.
Well, and I'm sure it's one of those things. If you were to have someone stand beside you and time it, it doesn't. It seems longer than what it is.
Time slows down.
But you're trying to get your gross, whatever you bought. You're trying to get your money, possibly a receipt, and say thank you to the cashier all at the same time. And you have a line of people. There's nothing more awkward and
bills and coinage.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's when you just leave all the coins.
So, and here's my OCD. The bills have to be in order from smallest to largest.
Oh, you're not that guy, are you? With a line of people behind, you're doing the color and the shape and the denomination.
Yeah. You should feel anxious if you're doing all that shit in line.
Yeah, you'll be getting a bar of soap and a sock right across your back. Code red right there in the line.
You ordered the code red.
You're
You see Aric there in line. Wait a minute.
Hold.
Almost there.
That's why I never use cash.
Are you one of these proponents of a cashless society, Aric?
I don't like the idea of it except for that reason.
Number 24. When you're walking behind someone that has a slightly slower pace than you, so you start to pass them, but then have that awkward moment when you're walking next to them before you cut in front of them.
That's bad. Isn't it? No, this isn't awkward. This is infuriating. This seemed to happen in college in front of one particular building where somebody is walking slowly and dawdling in front of you. And you can see them kind of briefly glance behind them to see whose footfalls are behind them. And as you start to pass, they take a step over to block your way. So you have two choices. You either have to stop or go off the curb slightly into the street.
Yeah.
Once again,
which kind of goes back to the sidewalk when we had the last one episode with it.
Code red.
Here's my problem. This happened just the other day at OU. I distinctly remember that, like, the first place I really noticed it was went to Washington, D.C. several years back. When you were on the escalator, you're stepping on the escalator the same pace as everybody. There's only one pace. First off, people that climb out escalators, I have no use for them. It's an escalator. Ride it. Enjoy the ride. Enjoy the temporary lapse of movement.
Reprieve.
Yes. But what's even worse is when you step on an escalator and someone says, excuse me, and has to get by you to get on the escalator just to be a few steps up. That bugs me.
Agreed.
It happened just at OU the other day. We're getting on the escalator, the up escalator. Me, Celia, Riley, I don't know if Ethan was with us, but we were like part of a little small group. We get on the escalator and some sweating man comes by and like kind of shoves past us. Like, I need to get by here. Can I get by here? And then I'm thinking maybe it's an emergency. Maybe he's going to, and he literally just stands like 2 steps in front of us and rides the rest of the way up.
That is when you hit the red button on the escalator and turn it into stairs and you push them down.
Yeah. At DC, it was more like I could see maybe people wanting to get to work, and you're just there sightseeing and they're in a hurry to actually get to their job. But it was like using the escalators to get on the subways. I remember people like pushing past us and stuff to get a little further on the escalator than you. I just don't get it.
But it really is akin to the people who are going down the highway, you get ready to pass them and they speed up. Same. I'll bet those people do that too.
Oh yeah. But the akin to that would be what we should do when somebody tries to pass you on the escalator. You should speed up.
Yes.
Because passing on the highway is
an escalator though.
Passing on the highway is useful. Passing on an escalator is not. What do you mean? How do you speed up? You do what they're doing. You go up the steps while the escalator's
Hey,
moving.
how can you imagine to get the steps to go faster?
That's what I'm saying though. It's the people that get past you and either keep walking up the escalator because they're too impatient to wait for the ride.
Yeah.
Because again, as we've said on this show, or I've said on this show several times, their time is more important than your time.
Yes.
So them getting to the top of that escalator a half second before you do is much more important than that.
Same thing. I have this, and I'm going to make some people mad here. So just know that I'm joking. Kind of.
Are you really?
I'm not joking, but I give my coworker, I give some of my coworkers a hard time because I have some coworkers that are the back end of the parking space people. And I always feel like those people think that number one is their time is more precious than mine. Not really, but I have news for them. The time they took to back into the parking lot, I pulled in faster than they backed in. It all equals out. So if they can pull out a little faster than me when they leave and I have to back out and take an extra 5 seconds,
it's all the same.
The total time is all the same.
Yeah. Now, the only, I don't generally back into parking spaces. Now, the pull through is the greatest thing ever.
Oh, you got to pull through. Yeah.
I will rejoice on the pull through, but
yeah.
Have you ever had that awkward moment when you're doing a pull through and you're about 1/3 of the way into that spot and somebody comes flying around the corner and pulling in, and you had to stop and back up, and then you had to do the.
Well, I think if you get past your front wheels, it's yours. You just gotta you gotta take it.
Yeah, you
gotta take it. 25. When you hold the door for someone, but realize that they're actually kind of far away, so they have to do the awkward skipping thing, and you feel awful. Now that's a double whammy because that's talking about how awkward it is for the person that has to. What's more awkward is when you're standing there.
the awkward skipping thing. That is outstanding. That's an outstanding description.
Where they make this face, they go, and they had to pick up their pace.
Yeah, but see, I think you guys are talking about the person coming. I think it's more awkward for the person holding the door.
I
think
there's equal awkwardness for both.
Yeah,
because you have tried to make their life easier, but all of a sudden you put the onus of them going faster on them. So they got to quicken the pace.
Well, you guys might not know this, but at my work, my title is 4th grade teacher and also pod door holder. Because my classroom is right beside an entrance, exit door, whatever you want to call it. So I hold the door for a lot of people. What's even worse than that is when it's cold and wintry and you do that, and then you do the awkward, like shut it. So it looks like you're shutting the door on the person because they're not there yet. And then you open it again because you know what I mean? Like holding the door open and all the cold air is blowing in and blowing papers off the walls and stuff. So you have to shut the door
Todd
and then just to open it again.
That's what I was going to say, though. One of you all once should just, when they're doing the awkward skipping thing, right when they get there, to shut the door.
Hey, okay, this is going to get me in a little bit of trouble. And I promise this wasn't the intention. But when I was with a former significant other, and they had gone in first, I'd held the door open for them, where there was another attractive lass coming up behind. So I held the door open and I got the thank you. I'm like, you're welcome. And all I got was, I got the glare. Like I was just holding the door open for somebody.
Yeah. I think what's even worse than that is when you hold the door open for a grown ass person, they don't thank you. Yeah. I've had quite a few of those over the years.
I've got the worst. Yeah. My freshman year at Ohio State, I held the door open because I'm a polite young man, and that's the way I was raised. And I held the door open for a lady, and she yelled at me and said, I can get the door myself.
Yeah. I've had that before, too.
And I'm like...
I'm surprised that happened back when you were in... I mean, I didn't think the wokeness had set in yet, Brady, back when you were... When you were that young.
It was Ohio State. I mean,
yeah, that's true. I here's the thing. If I am at the age now where if that happened to me, if someone yelled at me for opening the door, then I would purposely slam. I would hold the door shut.
Sling it with vigor back in their direction.
Yes.
But then that gets awkward because it's probably got that that shock absorber on it.
He-
So you do the slamming motion, it would just come to a creep and just make you look silly.
Here's the thing. I have never opened the door for anyone, male or female,
Oh.
where while I'm holding it, I'm thinking, boy, that weak ass isn't going to be able to push this door in with those scrawny arms and that lack of I mean, like, I've never done it because I think they can't
No.
handle the task.
It's
do it
just
because
not being
polite,
nice.
It's respectful. Yes. I've never
Here,
thought,
I've
well,
got
here comes
here
a woman.
first. Welcome.
This door, it takes the strength of a man to hold this door. That woman couldn't possibly handle this door. I've never done that. So how about recognizing intent rather than polishing your soapbox?
All right.
Yes, like I didn't want you to get a case of the vapors and faint, or
Yes.
the exertion from opening that door.
You don't need to fem-splain it to me, lady. I'm starting that, by the way. You guys, we can market that.
So yeah, you talk about slamming the door, trying to slam the door, and you try to pull it, and all it does is go.
Yes.
Number 26. Pooping at someone else's house.
Oh, I wasn't expecting that.
I need home court advantage.
You're like you're like the
For 3
1980s
points in
Boston,
Vegas.
you're like the 1986 Boston Celtics. You need to like shut the heat off in the visitors locker room, and the
Right.
got to know the dead spots in the parquet floor.
Yes. Yes.
That I'm not gonna
You got-
throw
you gotta have
anybody
to run
under
out,
the.
standing outside the door cheering you on, smoking a cigar.
All right.
This has
man.
got me thinking, and I'm sorry. This is a big time rabbit hole. But did you guys happen to see the article over the weekend where that Delta Airlines flight was like 2 hours into leaving, and it's over the ocean, and it has to turn around. It's on its way to Barcelona, Spain. And they had to turn around and come back because somebody had explosive diarrhea so bad that it ran all the way up the cabin.
I didn't hear that.
It ran all the way up. There's videos of it, and not only that, they had to, when they got back, plane technicians, they had to rip out the carpet.
Gosh,
and
just burn the
replace it.
plane.
How humiliating to be that person.
How did the person live? How did the person not dehydrate? If you
I
can
think it
be
would take
foul an entire plane,
But I think it would take a little while to dehydrate.
Well, I mean, that's just a human Vesuvius there.
it's
I-
2 hours.
Don't get me wrong. I feel bad for them. I mean, I couldn't
I
imagine.
Oh,
totally
yeah.
do. So, I mean, oh, sorry. On most planes, and I realize the international transatlantic planes are those big ones, but the bigger they are, the more facilities they have interspersed. You know, could the person not make it 10 feet? Because what I
Maybe-
did hear is the lavatory was not occupied.
Oh, I was getting ready to say maybe a couple people were trying to join the Mile High Club.
It's just like they just got to a certain point and they must have either gambled and lost or just gave up and stopped.
You don't. Here's the thing, Brady. You don't gamble on something that's going to fill the aisleway of a 747.
Well,
You know,
I'm
I
saying
think
they
you
didn't
pretty
do
much
it
have an idea you're
purposely.
going to lose that bet.
I-
It's
I-
not like, ooh, I mean, like, I mean,
How was that again?
There's nothing dainty about that. That's not a little. I mean,
I was like Pillsbury Doughboy or something.
you know what I mean? Like, you don't gamble. You don't. I mean, if you feel that coming on, you're not gambling. You're.
I guarantee you that person did not feel that catastrophe coming on. I think once the spigot was open, it didn't stop.
But
Maybe they had bad crab dip in the airport lounge or something.
I will say this. I threw up one time when I was a Ute, and I remember to this day. I threw up one time. I was laying in my bed reading a Peanuts comic, or a Peanuts book from the library, from the school library, back when the library was the trailer. Remember that? Like they had the
Yeah.
trailer out back. And I literally had no idea I was going to throw up. I was sitting there reading, and I mean, I'm sitting there reading, and I just went and just like and threw up. Like there wasn't like
Come to a frame that had peppermint patty in it.
it's the only time it's ever happened, and I'm glad. You know, as a kid, I thought, well, this is something that can happen. So then as someone who was already terrified of throwing up.
I think you sent a dog video one day. The dog just did that. It just went.
Yeah. I mean, and you guys, I mean, people who know me know my fierceness in which I fight vomiting. I put it this way: I've been married 23 years coming December, and my wife has seen me throw up one time. I just don't do it. I fight it. I fight it with everything I have. I'm a fierce warrior when it comes to fighting the vomit. So when I was a kid and I did that, it scared. I thought, well, this is something to look forward to in life. Now you can just be sitting here enjoying a Peanuts book from the library. Miss Overstate's going to be pissed because I just threw up all over the Peanuts book.
Did you throw up on the book?
Oh yeah, right on the. Like I said, I was laying on my side reading and just threw up on the book. I threw up all over it.
I think young children are more apt. Like I'm not one. I think we talked about that same thing that you just said. I probably haven't thrown up in 25 years. But I mean, when I was in elementary school, I mean, it was a little bit more frequent.
Yeah.
Including the most famous one that Brady knows of. Got them extra recess.
Yes.
All right,
For those of you at home who had not heard this story, Aric threw up so badly that we got extra recess because they had to fumigate and sanitize the room. And we were all in the window going, thanks, Aric. And we were genuinely happy. And there he is in his misery with his head down on his desk.
I vomited on my desk and I just got up and sat down at another desk.
You know what would have been so bad anus? Is if you would, with your head down, acknowledge this just by going.
Got comments here.
Yeah.
I bet we do.
So Miss Wilson says she thinks the back end to the parking spot people are more about control. Everything is prepared for a quick and easy egress.
Well, I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. Jim, also a fan of the home field, home court advantage when it comes to restroom facilities. Jess always had that fear of flying and having to use the restroom. Jim said Brady had heard they had to take that man off the plane in a stretcher. That's what I'm saying. How is he not dehydrated?
Oh, I'm sure he was. I'm sure they hooked him up to an IV as quickly as possible and got some fluids in him.
Power the plane.
Now, Jess, as a nurse, said maybe the person's on meds that makes them have uncontrollable diarrheas.
Yeah.
Of course, I think if that were the case, you would probably choose to not fly, or at least to time your medication.
I mean, how else you going to get on a boat from Barcelona?
Well, you could just hang your ass over the edge and feed the sharks.
Oh my God.
All right, 27. I don't know that I've had this happen. Maybe when you reply to a stranger who says hello, but then realize they were on the phone and not speaking to you.
Okay, so people that wear earbuds and conduct phone conversations.
That's not much of a thing anymore. There for a while.
Yeah, I mean,
well, can I tell you, honestly, I've seen it this summer. I noticed an uptick in it.
Really?
And I don't know why. But they've got the obnoxious little thing that comes out farther. So it's saying like, hey, I got an earbud in and I'm probably going to be using it as a phone to recognize.
Now I haven't seen one of those in probably 10 years.
I saw multiple ones this summer. I thought some of the new came out.
Really? Yeah, that little piece of technology is just is self-importance.
We're talking to Mr. King of the talk to text.
But I never.
I'm talking to Brady.
Oh.
And by the way, who sucks at it?
Yeah, exactly.
Can I tell you when I talk to text the most is when I'm driving, and I don't even look at it. I'm hitting the button on my steering wheel.
It's obvious you don't look at it.
Oh, so I got a story to tell. This is going to be one of those stories that is not going to be as funny as if you were there. So we're driving. Last week was family weekend at OU, and so what we decided to do is so Riley, he's only a junior, but we're going to start a year earlier looking at colleges because we kind of got a late start with Ethan, and he was kind of already had his mind made up anyway. So, but Riley doesn't. So we thought, well, we're off for fair break. We're going up to OU to see Ethan. We'll go ahead and schedule a college visit for Riley. So Riley's with us. It was me, Riley, C. We're driving up. We had to be there at 9:00. So this is 7:15 in the morning, something like that. We're heading to OU. And one thing Celia likes to do is she likes, like on the way home from shows and stuff, she has her phone plugged in, obviously for GPS purposes, whatever, listen to music. And she has the voice on her phone. It's set to like a British accent. It's a woman with a British accent. So usually on the way home, various band texts are going back and forth, like "Great show, guys. We'll see you," whatever it is. Well, Celia loves to hear the British accent on the phone read everybody's text because it's, you can imagine. I mean, imagine that reading some of our text to each other, how colorful, how colorful the language can be, and it's pretty funny to hear.
Driven snow.
So we're going down the road, and Celia's like, "Hey, you should let Riley hear the voice do the text." So I come up with something like completely silly or something like that to say to Celia, and so Riley can hear it. And so we do it a couple of times, and we're all laughing. And Riley's like, "I want to try it." And she's like, she started saying it. She's like, "Dad," and she's saying it to me, and it didn't register. So she does it again. She's like, "Dad, you look like Kermit, and you smell like a burnt capybara butt," or something like that. Just something stupid. She's obsessed with capybaras. And we're waiting for me to get it. We're waiting for me to get it, and I'm not getting the text. And I'm like, what's going on? Why am I not getting the text? Well, then I realized that she had said "Dad." Well, it was Celia's phone plugged into the car. So dials up her dad, Celia's dad, and text him. So Gerald at 7:15 in the morning gets a text that says, "You look like Kermit, and you smell like a burnt capybara butt." And so then we're like panicking, and Celia's like, "Well, maybe you can delete it before he gets it." And so then we see the red little where it says, I don't know if you guys with your phones, but on iPhones it says red, like you can see if somebody's read it.
Yeah. So
then Celia has to call her dad and explain why he's receiving a text from her at 7:15 in the morning. So there's the danger also in talk to text right there.
Oh, I got a story about that
Well, I mean, trust me, I'm thinking, man, I am glad that could be dangerous.
I could tell you briefly, and you could fill in the gaps. But it was one of Reagan's assistant soccer coaches, who was a younger lady, and I was driving and said, "Are we still practicing at 6?"
I can see where this is going.
I have never been so humiliated, embarrassed, and I apologize. I'm so sorry. That was autocorrect. Thankfully, they knew me well, and and they teased me about that for 2 or 3 years.
So they knew you sucked at talk to text too.
Well,
Brady, you don't just talk to text in the car. You talk to text when you're sitting at home too.
Sometimes, but what's worse is in the car because it echoes. Because when I'm in the what I've noticed, it's so weird. It kind of like echoes, and then it does really weird things, and that's when it gets really bizarre.
I guess I'm more wondering why your autocorrect corrected 6 to that.
Well,
I guess the reason I'm getting butt bleaching ads on my Facebook page. I've never asked about that, or it's never been a query in my life. I've never.
You never asked about that.
I think it's our accent. It's like our slightly southern Midwestern accent, because I guess what I figured out is the short I sound gets corrected to a short E sound a lot.
Well, there's nothing I've ever said where Facebook should think I say, "Help me, I have a dark crack." I really, so I just get a text from my daughter, and it says, "I said a capital DRY capybara foot, not burnt. So Riley must be listening.
Hello, Riley.
Yes, hello Riley. I
Hello,
thought only
Riley.
your friends listened. I thought only your friends thought your lame dad was funny.
Well, you know.
No, her lame dad is still unfunny, but her lame dad's friends are hilarious.
Exactly.
So
All right.
All right, Nikki. Hello.
Ooh,
Also said take the seat
Again,
out of the plane.
just throw the plane away.
throw that $30 million plane away.
write it off.
I would like to talk to Tony, to Anita's boyfriend Tony. He was a commercial pilot. I would like to talk to him and ask him his thoughts on that situation. Is that the only comment we're waiting on right there?
Yes.
Oh, wait a minute.
28.
Jessica says she's dying over there, which is good in a good way.
Yeah.
28. Not here. This happens a lot to me. And Brady, we definitely know this has happened to you. Not hearing what the other person said, so you just nod and smile, praying it wasn't a question.
Wait a minute.
I know what you're pulling up, Aric.
There's your response.
Well, and I think you probably know my response.
Mine's. Let's
You
get
gotta-
an angle it just to catch the bottom of the teeth.
Yeah. What you got to do, though, you got to kind of do the where it could be no, it could be yes. They make them wonder if you're agreeing or disagreeing. Kind of give it a diagonal.
That's where you go the bobblehead.
Yeah.
moment.
Exactly. No, yeah. No, yeah.
You got to nod your head from northwest to southeast.
Yeah. And you got to say no, yeah, as one like, no, yeah, no. I got to be honest. It happens. I shouldn't make fun because hearing loss is actually a very serious thing.
The older I get, the more it happens.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. But what this doesn't mention is that awkward moment where you've asked 3 times for them to repeat themselves and you still can't hear it. So you just give up.
Because it sounds like,
Yeah.
If you run it backwards, that kind of thing.
So this one I'm going to skip past because we actually covered this. But when you're walking past coworkers and you've already said hello earlier, everyone's making that weird flat smile. Coming out of a I thought I said public toilet. Coming out of a public toilet.
The weird flat smile, yes. Go ahead.
The wording on this one. Coming out of a public toilet after laying a beast and there is someone waiting to go into the cubicle.
Well, that was a crass,
Laying a beast.
uncouth euphemism.
What's even worse, we've talked about this. For some reason, when they build schools, they only put like a couple staff bathrooms and they're always right by the office.
Mm-hmm.
And what's worse, though, is when you come out of a staff bathroom and you're not the one that created the funk that was in there. And
the essence.
Have you ever walked out and someone's standing, you actually tell them like it wasn't me? I've done that before.
Okay. I know I have told you guys this story privately, and I know we're getting along time, but I will not mention the place I used to work. That it was an elderly building, and there was one very tiny water closet style toilet behind the secretary's desk, and there would be an employee go there who I guess you could set your clock by their schedule. And the poor secretary would just be green. And
with
you
envy?
Yeah.
Another reason why secretaries are underpaid.
Yep.
Yes.
Or
yeah.
administrative assistants.
Well, they at least need to put some sort of super duper like wall material between the office and the back side of the bathroom. And you ever notice the plumbing is always in that wall? It's always in the joining wall.
Yep.
Yeah.
Come on, school builders.
All right. So I think we need to get Darren Schweikert on this show as an architect. Why would you design that way?
Well, I will say I understand that the plumbing has to be on an interior wall like that. I get that much.
But I mean the location of
exactly
said water closet.
Why wouldn't you have it next to I don't know. I mean, worst case scenario, have it back to the kids' bathroom, to the student bathroom. You know what I mean? Like at least because the plumbing's there.
Yeah, which is how it is in my building. That's where they
It is.
are.
Okay. So I think we're at the 110 mark basically.
Yep.
I think we'll stop right there. I have about 10 more to go or something. So I'll wait until the next time. It's my
The awkward trilogy.
yeah. I lost my word. Topic. That's the word I'm looking for.
Topic. Yes. www.playbyyourpodcast.com. Go to our website, see our isms, and yeah, Jim, I got put up his comment. At least the staff restroom isn't across from your office door, Eric. That is correct. You must suffer that terrible thing right there, Jim. And his building's newer than mine, so why? I mean, the principal's office. I mean, come on. Anyway, go to our website, look at our isms. That's all these little words that we use. You may not know what we're talking about. If you go to the isms page, you can see definitions for those words. You can also buy a t-shirt. Click on the store link. Yeah, just like that. Just like that. Right there.
I'm wearing it, rocking out our own merch.
Yes. Softest t-shirt.
Eric in the middle. Eric's in the middle there. Brady's on his left.
This has been debated many times.
Didn't the designer of the logo say I was not in the middle? Even though
I thought they said you were in the middle.
No,
I don't think
you're the tallest.
Well, I mean, it stood to reason to me that I was in the middle. So
you're in I thought we said pull it back up there, Brady. Skin her back. I thought we said Eric was in the middle. If you're looking at Brady, it will be on your right, but Brady's left is Brady, and I am on Brady's right, our left.
It fascinates my daughter, Panda. Like she's like, is every time I wear this shirt, now which one's you again?
Yeah, you're stage left.
Yes, indeed. Anyway, if you'd like to buy one of those, click on the store link at the top of the webpage. It will take you to buymeacoffee.com, which is our crowdsourcing website. You click on the picture of the shirt. That will take you there, and then you can make your purchase from there. We have a few left. Still trying to move that merch if you're interested.
What do you got there, Brady? What are you getting into, Brady?
Well, unfortunately, I grabbed it quickly, and I am going to have to skin her back because the packaging was still in my US box.
It sounded like you were opening some like old-fashioned whorehound candy or something, like the kind you got in like a newspaper, like.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Something you'd see on Little House on the Prairie, like one piece of whorehound candy for the whole family to share.
There is a horror movie coming out. I swear this has a point. But it's been described as Little House on the Prairie meets Texas Chainsaw. It's like a horror movie. Like the Oregon Trail, and instead of dying of dysentery, there's like serial killers.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you seen the trailer for the there's a sloth horror movie coming out?
Those sloths are scary.
Yeah.
Those 3 toes can mess you up.
Well, there's 3-toed and 2-toed sloths.
Claws. So still without the Tootsie Pops, Todd?
I am. Yeah.
Do you have a Yarms?
I got a Yarms, and these Yarms suck. You can't hardly get the wrapper off of them.
Where there's a thin sheath of confectionery and a big old wad of gum that loses its flavor after 5 seconds.
I don't ever get down to that part. I just throw it away after the show.
All right. Game of the evening, chicken or egg?
Poultry or ovum?
Poultry or ovum. So it had been a while since we played this game. So just to refresh everyone's memory on how it works, I'm going to give our co-hosts 2 items to 2 things, and basically have to tell me which one came first, chicken or egg. In this case, that's why the game's called that, is what I should say. So, Kyle King rule in effect.
As always.
We drew lots backstage. Brady.
I'm trying to get the reflection to make it look like I got crazy eyes. see that. Okay, but sorry.
Crazy eyes.
The most amazing part of this next segment of the podcast is always how a grown-ass man like Brady can make one of those high C boxes last for the entire time.
That's a fact. And he'll still have a little backwash left when we get done with the game. All right. Brady,
Yes.
which came first? And by the way, we're playing to 5. Valentine's Day or Halloween?
Todd, are you okay over there?
Yeah, I got a Charms wrapper shrapnel in my tongue.
I'm gonna sneeze. Sorry. Dork. Excuse me. Okay. So Valentine's Day or
Are you sure it's not Valentine's?
oh
No,
gosh,
they're-
don't
they're-
get me started.
'Cause I've heard a lot of people say
Words.
Valentine's.
That's not a good ideal.
Okay. So Valentine's Day and All Hallows Eve.
Eve. Yes, correct.
I am going to say that the Druid practices that are kind of like reflected in Halloween is going to predate Saint Valentine. So I'm going Halloween.
Halloween.
Here's my educated answer that I'm kind of also talking on my.
I can't
And
remember.
you.
Do I chime in on whether I agree or disagree?
No.
Okay,
Yes,
because I
No.
disagree.
You
Ooh,
disagree?
I disagree.
Okay. Like Christmas, Valentine's Day appears to be a result of combining Christian and Roman traditions.
okay.
There was a Saint Valentine who was a priest during the 3rd century in Rome. That, combined with February symbolizing spring and rebirth, led to the holiday. Pope Gelasius, never heard that pope, declared February 14th St. Valentine's Day around 498. Halloween evolved from All Saints' Day, celebrated on November 1st. References to All Saints' Day appear from the reign of Pope Gregory III, 731 to 741. And it was also known as All Hallows Eve, with the evening before, or November 1st was All Hallows, and the evening before
Man,
known
my
as
logic was right.
Halloween.
I just
Yeah,
had it flipped.
That's correct. So Todd takes the lead, 1-0.
Backed into that one.
All right, Todd. Veterinary school or nursing school?
Wow.
So, even if we're talking back to like Civil War, the need. I'm going to go back to say Civil War. I'm not going to go any further than that.
Okay.
That's as far as I want to go back.
Yeah.
The need for healthy horses. Would have been great. Probably even maybe greater than healthy men. And also, I believe that it would have been a deal where it was kind of like if you like our dads did, worked factories, factory jobs. The engineers at some point, whatever, 70s, 80s, 90s, they weren't usually they weren't people with engineering degrees. Like that's a relatively, in the last, 20, 25 years or whatever. I can remember my dad talking about engineers at work and they wasn't engineers that went to school and became, had engineering degrees. So I think, like, again, talking Civil War, many people were acting as nurses and even doctors who probably did not have any type of formal training or at least any type of schooling, organized schooling. So I say all that to say, I actually think it's veterinarian school.
Okay. The first veterinary school was founded in France in 1761. The first nursing school was the Deaconess Institute, founded in the year 1836 in Germany. One of the nurses trained there was Florence
Of course.
Nightingale.
Florence Nightingale.
Florence Nightingale.
All right.
I almost
I didn't
wonder if
have my-
nurses they
I
practice.
didn't have my years right, but I think my logic was right.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, Brady, you're down 2-0.
Dang.
All right. Rubber bands or paper clips?
Now, see, natural rubber was expensive back in the day. It had to be extracted from the trees in the rainforest. So using rubber to make rubber bands would have been wasting material on an expensive commodity. And it seems like somebody could have bent a wire to make a paper clip, but they might not have known it as a paper clip. Because honestly, how long has paper been around? So it might not be the small svelte rubber bands we see today, but it might have been a band of rubber that was needed for something. I'm going to go rubber band.
Okay.
I like the way you kind of went backwards there to get to that
Yeah,
answer.
you did.
Because I was actually thinking rubber band as well.
All right. The first paper clip was invented in the year 1899. The Gem Manufacturing Company was the first to design the double oval shaped clip we know today. On March 17th, 1845, St. Patrick's Day, the first rubber band was patented in London by Steve Perry.
Should have been young!
So simple and so useful. The first, the first rubber band, 1845. So
The ban on teachers' existence ever since.
So I would like to know, can we look up real quick and see when the staple was invented?
sure. And was the
I'll look it up.
I think Eric's already got it.
Okay.
Yep, I'm there. 1866.
So before the paperclip, right?
Yes.
Which would make sense because would you almost say that the staple led to the need for a paperclip?
I think so because people didn't want their papers like permanently attached.
Yeah, and you gotta think the first staplers were probably not near as smooth and easy to use. Probably something that
Crude.
yeah, and then I wonder when the or the binder was invented because I would say the binder was an improvement over the paperclip.
True.
Agreed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when I say improvement, I don't necessarily mean better. I just mean the paperclip, you could only hold a certain thickness to where you
Way
needed
too much
something.
paper girth.
Yeah.
All right, Todd. Your lead cut in half, 2-1.
See that.
Stethoscope or periscope?
Brady probably has Brady and his naval aquatic knowledge.
I have the soul of a mariner in a land and a
Brady's
landlubber's life.
Brady's the Popeye of Brown County. I'm trying to think. So now, I assume the only knowledge I have of periscopes is as part of a submarine. But I'm wondering if there was another use for a periscope in some other way than a submarine.
Right.
Spying.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like spying neath something.
Or over top a fence.
True. But a stethoscope, obviously used to listen to your heart, to your lungs.
Listen to your heart.
Listen to your lungs. Tell it to my lungs. I see. I'm gonna say the periscope.
Okay.
Because I think that early in medicine, people just would have been like listening to your chest. That was before stethoscopes.
All right. A periscope is a device that is used
So far, so good.
examining an area not visible with the naked eye. Simple periscopes involve the use of mirrors and or prisms at angles to reflect images.
May I interject? Something just popped into my head. I think one of the Ninja Turtles invented the periscope. I forget which one. I forget if it was Michelangelo or, well, one of those.
Yeah,
Okay, so
I think so.
yeah. Let me see. Credit for the invention goes to Simon Lake in the year
Huh?
1902, and the perfection of it to Howard Grubb for the British Royal Navy during the First World War.
Huh.
Inventor of food.
Medical
In the-
historians have stated that the stethoscope was the most important diagnostic invention before the discovery of X-rays. French physician René Laennec invented the instrument when he needed a better way to listen to the heart of a woman who had a, quote, great degree of fatness, unquote,
Oh my.
in the year 1816. So the stethoscope came before the periscope.
That's I swear I remember seeing a diagram of like Leonardo drew out a
DiCaprio.
submarine. Yes.
DiCaprio,
What was the guy's name? Something Lake. I've heard of that name.
Simon Lake.
Gotcha. He was the bass player in Emerson, Lake and Palmer, I believe.
I believe Greg Lake was the
Yes, they have to be related. I mean, how many bloodlines of lakes can there be?
Ricky Lake.
Yeah.
Ricky Lake. All right, we're knotted up at 2.
Oh, dog knotted up.
Brady.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yamaha guitars or Yamaha motorcycles?
Yamaha.
Yamaha.
All right. Man. The guitar is a little bit of a Johnny come lately as far as stringed instruments go. Because like the violin and the lute were more popular than a guitar. But of course, a harp, but a motorcycle is a modern invention too. Japanese countries were great at iterating. So what do they iterate first? The guitar or the motorcycle? And I'm going to have to go, I'm going to guess for a wartime, I'm going to go motorcycle.
Okay.
I think it's motorcycle as well.
All right. Yamaha first started making pianos in the year 1900. The company has since become a well-respected guitar manufacturer.
Makes an awesome
And
saxophone.
launched its Yamaha Guitar FG series in the late 1960s.
I would say they're probably more well known for basses.
The guitars were folk style, made of wood. The same manufacturer,
No Folken way, pal.
no, Norfolk and Way. The same manufacturer of fine musical instruments developed airplane propellers during the war. After World War II, sought new ways to use the tooling that was used to make the propellers. The first Yamaha motorcycle was the YA1, produced in the year 1955. So motorcycles before the guitar.
Yamahas were kind of known for being comfortable seats. They were easier
Brady-
on the old yam bag as you were going over. You know,
The old moneymaker. Did Brady get the point or not?
He did.
Okay.
Yeah, he said motorcycle.
don't call it a comeback.
Brady takes the lead. 3-2. All right, Todd. Tour de France.
France. What the hell?
Or Boston Marathon.
I mean, the obvious answer seems like the Tour de France would be the. I mean, we'd have to ask Louis Armstrong.
Louis.
All I can see,
Or is it Greg Louganis? Which one do we ask?
all I can see is Louis Armstrong on a bike. I see fields of green.
Clouds of white. Sandy Duncan. I see trees of green. Shepherd's pie. Sandy Duncan only had one eye. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Ooh, Andy. Ooh,
Oh, goodness.
we're composing ourselves.
Derek says, there goes half the juice box. Welcome, Derek.
Oh, goodness.
All right.
I apologize for all the Sandy Duncan fans out there.
And the Louis Armstrong.
That on
Yeah,
your
that was-
Trisket and eat it.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. I'm going to say the Tour de France. I think it's going to be wrong probably because that seems to be the obvious answer, but that's what I'm going with.
All right. The Tour de France race was created because of a feud between two French sports newspapers. Le Vélo was the original publication, and a former advertiser formed Le Autovélo. Le Vélo won a trademark suit and forced the other publication to become Le Auto. Le Auto's publisher decided that creating a bike race through France would generate publicity for the name change. So in 1903, the Tour de France began.
What
The
year?
Sacre Bleu.
Sacre Bleu.
What year?
1903.
Okay.
The spirit of the Olympic marathon race inspired the Boston Athletic Association member John Graham to create a marathon through Boston. Since its inception in 1897, the Boston
Dang.
Marathon has always taken place on Patriots Day.
That was very tweet.
Tweet. So Brady gets the point.
I'm in
Circle
the
gets the
Bairn.
square. You are in the bear.
Brady's in the Bairn. All right, Brady. For the
Yeah.
wiener, to be the wiener.
Careful now.
Microbiology or macroeconomics.
I knew it was gonna be-
Oh, goat fudge.
So would goat fudge be a euphemism for like goat feces, or goat fudge is in fudge made with goat's milk? Because there's a big difference.
I was thinking it would be flavored the way a goat smells. I'm going to go with option C, that it's an unpleasant confectionery that smells like a goat. But I think goat milk was probably the more reasonable answer. Although the first one was pretty funny. I am going to say macroeconomics because economic theory has been around for a long time. But the discovery of microorganisms developed with technology. Louis Pasteur and such. Anton von Leeuwenhoek and such. So I am going to go with macroeconomics.
Okay. The study of microbiology began with the invention of the microscope. Robert Hooke, an
Hooke.
English scientist,
Not
wrote the
Leeuwenhoek.
first book on the microscopic world called Micrographia in the year 1665. John Maynard Keynes is considered to be one of the most important people in the history of economics.
Is he the singer for Tool?
His classic book, The General Theory of Employment, Interest, and Money, forever changed the way people looked at the economy and changed the way people, and the government's role. Excuse me.
It sounds like quite the page turner.
Oh, yes. He introduced the concepts behind macroeconomics in the year 1936.
Dang, man.
So almost 300 years separate the two. So
I'm not
Brady,
Keith.
Brady, you were not only incorrect, you were fantastically incorrect.
I know. I'm much more of an Adam Locke and a Straussian, not a Keysnian.
All right. So 4-3 is
We got new
the
life.
score. You do. Okay, Todd.
Mhm.
Madonna's first #1 hit or Prince's first #1 hit?
Yuck. I'm a Prince fan, but not a Madonna fan. Actually, I don't mind Madonna. I shouldn't say that. So Madonna's first #1 hit versus Prince's first #1 hit.
That is correct.
Golly gee, beef. Man. So this is probably going to make me sound like Madonna's first run of hits, like her first album would have had like a Virgin and
Actually, that wasn't her first album.
okay, so but was that her first hit? Like, was that? I mean, I'm not asking for an answer because that could help give it away. But I'm just trying to. I'm talking it out through I'm talking it through.
Okay.
Holiday.
Yeah.
Because it sounds just like that.
You may be.
That's what you call the
lucky
horn.
star.
Is it,
I'm the luckiest by far.
that's the board horn solo. Man, I'm going to say, man, this is for all the marbles. This gives Brady the win.
Could be
Which-
for all the marbles.
King rule is that you couldn't win on a missed answer. That should be a rule. I'm going to say Prince.
Or should it be spelling bee rules where he would have to get that one right plus the next one?
Yeah, Prince.
Prince. 1984 was a big year for Madonna and Prince, as both recorded their first #1 hits during this year. Prince grabbed the top spot with When Doves Cry in July.
And may I?
Yes.
Borderline. Feels like I'm going to lose my mind. Am I right?
When Doves Cry held on to that position for 5 weeks. It wasn't until December of the same year that Madonna found herself at the top of the charts with Like a Virgin.
Oh, boo. Borderline's a way better song.
Yeah, I hang on a minute. I said Like a Virgin. You all like poo-pooed me. You're like, that wasn't her first album.
You said wasn't her first album.
Well, I was hit. I was talking hit. The question was hit.
You said album.
I know what I said. Back off. I got it right. I'm in the barn.
Yeah, you did get it right.
Yeah.
So now this truly is for all the marbles.
All the marbles. The spheres. The orbs. I'm serious now. I just finished the juice box.
Yes. All right, Brady.
See?
Neil Diamond or
What?
Discovery of the Hope Diamond.
I'm not sure what it's asking. Which came first?
Which came first?
Define discovery. Like when they pulled it out of the oath? The Hope Diamond. Hope Diamond.
Okay. Although both have been famous for a long time, it's a sure bet that Neil Diamond was not there to see the discovery of the Hope Diamond. Singer and songwriter Neil Diamond was born in Brooklyn, New York in 1941. 3 centuries earlier, the Hope Diamond, originally weighing over 100 carats, was discovered in India by a French diamond merchant. So Brady.
See, I was afraid there was going to be some chicanery there. Like, did they mean it being rediscovered out into the public or when it was pulled from the bowels of the earth? So I went with the first one. I thought there was going to be some trickery there.
You went with the first one, and with that, you were correct, and you are the wiener.
Yeah.
I should get one stab at it here. I should get one question. See if I can tie it up. Change the rules on the fly.
Change your rules on the fly. Okay.
No, just for fun. See if I can.
I will allow it.
I will allow it.
We don't have to continue if I do. I just want to see. Draw even.
Academy Awards or Tony Awards?
Shouldn't they be called the Anthonys?
Damn it, Brady! You stole my joke. If I hadn't had to
really?
clear my throat, yes, I was getting ready to say, "Don't you mean the Anthony Awards?"
It sounds much more fancy.
I always like the name Tony, and I'm not, Tony. Tony, yeah. Okay, so theater definitely goes back further. It predates cinema. But that doesn't mean that they always give awards for it. Obviously, cinema goes back to, I believe, traces back to prehistoric Native American, into like Greek or not Greek mythology, but Greek, ancient Greece entertainment and telling of stories and performing shows and dramas. And that's just my knowledge of it. I'm going to say the Tonys. Again, the caveat would be there if they how long they've given awards for it. I mean, it's very clear that theater and dramas trace back further than
in Greece.
Cinema.
They were giving out a Tony to Testicles, the famous.
In 1947, the first Tony Awards were established. Today, about 700 judges help to recognize achievements in theatre through the awarding of the Tonys. At the first Academy Awards, held in 1929, there was little suspense as the winners were known prior to the banquet. The sealed envelope method used today was adopted in 1941.
So I double win.
Yeah.
Well,
I called that, even though I called it.
Yeah.
I knew it. The last two questions I had actually were very difficult because it was one of those things where the history predated the
recognition.
Yeah.
Correct. All right. So Brady once again is the wiener.
Nice job, ween.
Thank you.
Brady's the obscene ween.
All right. Anything else for the good of the order, gentlemen? Schmentlemen?
Nope, all good. A fun episode.
All right. Audio-wise, this episode will come out Friday morning, 3 a.m. on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and the iHeartRadio app, and most anywhere else you might find an audio podcast. Video-wise, you can also find it on Spotify as well as YouTube. Search Play It By Ear Podcast for our channel. Also on Twitch. You can also follow our channel there, Play It By Ear Podcast. Social media, all the links are on our website. Brady, if you will. playitbyearpodcast.com. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagrams. Once again, you can find all those links on the website. Interact with us via email, admin@playitbyearpodcast.com. If you'd like to leave a voice message, we're still begging for one. Click the link at your podcast provider, or you can also go to our website. There's a link right there where you can leave a voice message for us.
3 middle-aged men begging for a voicemail.
To no avail for I don't know how long. How long we've
I
been
just want to
begging?
say this is. I mean, like we here's the thing. I don't want to sound like one of those ungrateful people because we're far from ungrateful. We always said if one person listens to us, it's worth it.
Yep.
But come on, we
Come
we
on.
need someone
Come on,
to leave us
man.
that voicemail. We promise we won't. If you don't want us to include it in the show, we won't.
Right.
There could be a possibility we can't broadcast it live.
Yeah, there
depending
could
on
be.
what
I mean,
we
here's the thing. Anyone who knows what approaching middle age is like, you know the beating that your ego takes.
Yes.
So for ego stroking purposes only, we need a voicemail.
Yeah.
We have to have something to what
validate ourselves.
validate ourselves, get us from one week to the next.
So I have a story on that note. Speaking of your ego getting bruised, so I'm talking to this kid today, 3rd grader, asking about a situation on the bus. That's okay. Who's your driver? Well, my driver's usually this person, but that person's out. So now my driver is this guy. He's got gray hair just like you.
Oh.
Thank you very much.
Oh. I had a similar thing last week. My coworker that works with the co-teaches with me, I said, hey guys, I'm going to go ahead and explain this because it kind of reads like stereo instructions. And she looked at me and went, like, does that reference not work anymore?
No. No one has bought a stereo since 1979.
Earbuds are stereo. They are stereo.
The last boombox I bought
But this is even predating boombox.
was an Emerson. Remember Emerson? Remember when Emerson was
Yeah.
actually like
Or was it a Sharp?
Well, for my 8th grade or for my high school graduation, my mom, if she's listening, my mom and dad, I think my dad still listens. They bought me a very nice boombox, and it got destroyed. I lost it, and I've always felt bad about it. But that was the last boombox I owned. But I distinctly remember, like I think my 8th grade graduation, maybe getting an Emerson boombox from Big Wheel.
Big Wheel.
Yeah. Hell, Doug probably sold it to me.
Probably did.
To my parents.
So we're talking stereos, like 5-foot tall speakers, like the receiver
with high fidelity polyphonic sound.
With the big knob this big that you tune in your favorite radio station.
And move
and the 8-track player. The 8-track player.
You guys, Aric, Todd, I don't think you got to see it, but I gave Aric a live video of the condo on vacation. They had a built-in wall. It flipped down. It was an LP record player that was built into the wall that flipped down, and then you flip down the cassette and 8-track player.
Does anyone still own 8-tracks?
I think my mom might have some in a cubbyhole stashed away, because I've pined for my Dumb Ditties 8-track, so I could like make a copy of it somehow.
The Dumb Ditties was at the like ham bone. The meanest.
Oh no, it was
machine. Ham bone.
I'm coming to get you.
Or da ha
ha. While you were still in diapers wet in the sheets, I was at the Ponderosa rapping to the beat. Sorry.
So we've had the Rappin' Duke and Louis Armstrong on this episode.
Now who's the Rappin' Duke?
Had, like you can't roller skate a buffalo herd. My mommy told me not to put beans in my ears and those dumb songs.
Who's the rapping Duke thinking he's so patriotic? Daha sounds pretty idiotic.
Idiotic.
Don't
Yeah.
you think that sounds stupid?
Yeah.
All right, so you referring stereo instructions, and you're incredulous that no one gets this reference. That is a stereo. There is no stereo ever that did not have an 8-track player on it.
So
Had the turntable as well, but it had an 8-track in it. So yes, someone who I'm assuming was born that you're talking to after 1979 would not get the reference.
So I have a question. I have a question. So I have jumped on the vinyl bandwagon in the last 2 to 3 years. I enjoy buying vinyl and I enjoy it. I where does 8-track stand in the rankings of like quality? Because you have purists that believe that vinyl sounds the best. You have some people that say, well, that's just you're just saying that because it's cool to say that CDs sounded the best. Where did 8-track and cassette come in there?
Lowest.
8 tracks was the lowest. The worst thing about 8 tracks that I remember, you could skip programs, but each program had like a 4-song chunk, so you couldn't skip individual songs. If you wanted to skip a program, you had to skip 4.
So you would skip from the start of one song to the middle of the next. Like if you skip programs and chunk, and then it would change tracks. And so, yeah.
I got you.
And it was horrible. You couldn't, if you had a portable 8-track player, basically it ate the 8-track very easily.
Yes.
Gotcha.
All right. So there's a little lupine excursion there at the end of our show. All right. So we will be back. I'm assuming we'll be back next Wednesday night.
Should be.
7:00. Join us for episode 142, the Play by Ear podcast. Todd.
Thanks for listening to the Play It By Ear podcast. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter at Play It By Ear Pod 2, and our website at anchor.fm/Play It By Ear podcast. Thanks again, and join us next time as we play it by ear.